welcome back to the Dance to Learn YouTube channel. Today I wanted to recap week 2 inside of our preschool where we've been teaching a short little creative dance session. So last week, in last week's video, I shared just some of the struggles that we had. Last week we had 13 kids signed up and I took them all at one time. And I'll reshare the space. So we have, the room is sort of a long room. We have a section with a rug. That's where we did our learners circle exercises and activities. And then we have a longer session with a hardwood floor like what I have here. And that's where we were able to add the obstacle course. So last week, with it being so many kids, we decided to split the class in half. This week I had 14 kids, so we just divided it right down the middle. We did 7 in one group and 7 in the other. And because I had a smaller group, I used my Velcro carpet dots. These are amazing if you're teaching on carpet. They are very hard to pull off of the floor, and sometimes you have to be careful because sometimes I've pulled the carpet up. So just be mindful that once they stick, they really stick. So I like these better than poly spots, which are a little bit easier to pick up and throw around and be distracting. These carpet spots are going to stick really well. So what I did was I put 7 spots around, so 3 along one side, 1 on the middle, and then 3 on the other side of the rug. This way we all had our own spots, and I just used yellow. I made sure to just use one color so that we could all just sit on the same spot. But I've linked these for you if you would be interested in your own carpet dots. We were able to play with my apples. I didn't get them all out for this video, but I had 6 red apples, 6 green apples. And so because we could play with them today, we started with breath. And so we all picked either a red or green apple. We closed our eyes and smelled the apples. And I talked about how red apples, they might be more sweet and smell like apple juice, whereas a green apple might be more tart. And when you smell them, you might make a face. And then we did, so this is a new book series that we are starting here at Dance to Learn. It's called Neuro Narratives. I don't want to talk about it too much on this video because I don't want it to be a spoiler, but this particular story is about Johnny Appleseed. And in the back of the story, we have a cute little image. It's the life cycle of an apple tree. And so I referred to this today as we warmed up, starting out as seeds. So we did a little tactile, like we buried our seed, we watered our seed, we warmed up our seed with the sun, and then we sprouted, so we stretched our roots out. And then for seedling, we stood up and then we rolled back down. For our tree, we each picked 1 apple and we did branches. We did our upper body, vertebra, and different branches. And then for our lower body, we did roots, pointing and flex. We grew leaves of the tree. And then we picked apples. So I put 1 apple on a foot. We send that foot out and we bring it back in, just like we're picking our apples. And then if we want to do a hamstring stretch, there we can. And then cross lateral, we picked some apples. I didn't do vestibular because we're still pretty tight, and I just worry about the kids spinning out of control and into something. So we did spinning we made it up later. We just didn't do it during our warm up. So we used this. Look for a future video more about our neuro narratives and what those are, but I'm really excited about that. And then I already have my obstacle course set up. So it was very similar to last week. The only change I made was my balance domes. I made the green one our leaf. I made the red one our branches with the apples on it, and then the rest of the apples were in the top of the tree. And so in the bottom, I focused a lot more on the conceptualizing of the tree this week. Honestly, you could do a lot of different concepts for this. Technically, our concept is locomotion and non-locomotion, but in our tree, our root system, they're twisted. So here we twist in our hula hoop. And then we have our straight tree trunk. So we're going to make our arms straight and our body straight as we walk up the tree trunk. And then curvy, I talked about how our leg makes a triangle this week when we make our leaf, and how we call that angular. So we got to learn that word. And then when we walked over here to red, we stood on the red one with 2 feet. I'm not doing it because I'm still in my shoes, but we made our curvy porte-bras. And then I like to get a jumping station in, and in the space it's easier to go around than like across, because we eventually run out of room in the space that we are in. So what I do is I put on my wings. We flew like a bird today. So one way, I think we flew like a bird last week. But you could change this. You could be, maybe you're a squirrel and you've just climbed the tree and you're gonna snatch an apple and take it back instead of a basket. Maybe it's your nest. And you could do a little, like, I would call that a pas-de-chat, but maybe you want to call it, you could gallop like a squirrel. So whatever animal. You could be a raccoon. So switch it up. That just kind of makes it more exciting, especially if you're going to be teaching maybe the same concept or the same theme from week to week. But that's how we did the obstacle course. It was pretty similar. Oh, we did do our apple tree dance, which I can talk you through. So after we warmed up, we did our apple tree dance. And so we just start as a little seed. I'll share the song down below so you can follow along. It talks about the seed being buried. So we stand up and we do some plies. And then the rain comes. And so we rain on our toes. And then we sip water. We do our little piqués. And I always like to go to give that feeling of we're slurping our foot back in on the floor. And then the sun shines and we make sparkle fingers and we shine around one way and we shine around the other way. And then we grow those leaves, and we can talk about how our leaves make a triangle. Those are angular shapes. And then we finish with our branches. So everybody grabbed one apple again, and we did our curvy branches. And that's where the song ends. So that was how we warmed up before we moved into our obstacle course. Now, I do get questions a lot of times about shoes. So I found out last week, because licensing can be different, so it's always best to ask. The floor that we're on, it's a wood floor like this. It is a little slippery. Like, this is very rough just because it's been danced on by a lot of different like tap shoes. So the wood floor at the school is a little bit more slippery. Nobody has fallen, which is good. But if it's like a linoleum floor, you probably want them to keep their shoes on. So just keep that in mind. Or you can suggest to parents to purchase like the grip socks. But licensing can be different everywhere. So before you have kids take off shoes in the preschool, you obviously don't want to get your preschool partners in trouble just because you're coming in and teaching dance, right? So just be mindful that licensing can be different. But the preschool director last week, she's been sitting in in my classes, which I'm actually thankful for, because then if somebody needs to go to the bathroom, I can just send them to her. Or if there's somebody that's maybe making choices that are not appropriate, then she is also there to sort of redirect that behavior along with me, and we can do it together, which is always nice. You don't always get that. But anyway, she did say that they did not have to keep their shoes on. So what I've been doing, just to keep it simple, is we've been warming up with our shoes on. So our apple tree warm up that we did, our apple tree dance standing warm up. But when we get to the obstacle course, because I don't want outside shoes on my props, we take our shoes off for this. And then at the end of class, before we get our stickers, because I have 2 classes and I want to get the next one, we had a little shoe race. And I said, okay, whoever can get their shoes on the fastest is going to get their sticker first. And that just kind of motivated them to stay on track of putting their shoes on. And then, of course, I could help anybody who was having a harder time with their shoes. And then they got their stamps. So that was, it's very similar to last week, but overall it was much better. The kids didn't have to wait as long to dance on the obstacle course this week, which was great. And I had a great compliment from one of the staff members there. They said, oh my goodness, I have never seen those kids be more engaged with a teacher that has come in to teach, dance or soccer. She said, I was amazed that you had them, sitting on spots, and I was amazed that they were following you so well. She just said that it was really amazing to see how engaged the kids were. So when you integrate these themes, when you integrate these concepts, it can really pull your whole class together. So that's my update from my second week inside the preschool. If you guys want more updates about the mobile classes and what we're teaching, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will be sure to update frequent check-ins. I probably won't do it every week because I do have other content I want to share, but so far so good. Everything is going well at the preschool, and hopefully this inspires you to reach out to your local preschool and teach in the schools as well. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me here on my YouTube channel. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts on this series all about teaching dance in the preschools. And if you like this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please hit that red subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so that you never miss a video. All right, happy dance adventuring.